Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. So, I was driving back from a long trip, and I like to keep my gas tank above half full. I don't want to go below half full. So, I still had a good ways to go, but it was starting to get dark, and I like driving in the night because there's not a lot of other stuff on the road except for the truckers, and they're professional. Anyway, so I pull over to get gas, and it's just getting dark, and it's starting to get dark, and it's dark is coming. And I'm looking in my wallet to see what I need to do to, put the right things and the key here and the this there and that there, and doing all the things. And there's a tap on my window. And of course it startles you. You're looking down, doing your stuff, and there's somebody at my window, and I'm pulled like up to the gas tank. So who's at my window? So the guy's like, "Ma'am, can you help me?" And I was like, "Yeah, but can you not be just like scaring people?" And he started telling me how his car broke down. They were on their way. The story was so long. They were on their way to help his mother-in-law who got in a bad accident, but on the way they ran out of gas. They're completely on E, and his wife and his two kids are in the car. And I rolled down the window, and the smell of marijuana came wafting in. And I don't like the smell of marijuana at all. It actually gives me a headache, makes me kind of grumpy. I don't like it at all. But that's what happened. And so it was like, whoa. So because I don't like all of those things and all those things, I started to associate all of that, all of the things that go with the smell of marijuana for me. I started to associate it with him. And so I was like, well, where's your wife and kids? And he was like, they're where the car broke down. The trucker who brought me over here could tell you. And I was like, well, where's your trucker? And he pointed some way over somewhere where he knew. He's like, you can go ask him. He knew I wasn't going over there. He could tell by the way I was trying to walk. Going over there. Anyway, I was like, I wanted to say, well, were y'all all smoking marijuana when you ran out of gas? Because, sir, come on. And he was an older guy, so he said his two young kids, and I was like, mm. And I'm standing there just like doing all of these judgy things. And I always say to people, listen to how you judge a person's story, because that's how you judge yourself. And I could hear that, and I was just like, whoa. So I said, sir, can I ask you a favor? Don't just walk up and startle people like that. That's really startling. And, you smell like the stuff you're trying to get money for. But I don't know you. I don't know your life. I don't know your story. How can I help you? And he put his head down and he said, ma'am, whatever you can give me, I would really be appreciative of. And I said, okay. I said a little prayer and I gave him some money. And it wasn't a whole lot. It wasn't a whole lot at all. And then I saw him. I didn't see him leave because I was too slow to turn around. I had, by the time I got over to the store, because of course I'm going to go and use the bathroom, get a beverage. By the time I got there, he was already at a truck that was pulled right up, and he was talking to them, and it was a couple, and they were a lot less judgmental than I had been. I know how hard it is to ask for help when you need it. And maybe if you do it over and over again, you get better at it. And maybe if you have a need, a thing, or whatever, you get better at doing it. But being at a gas station in the middle of not a lot of places, in the night, at the beginning of the night, asking for help for whatever you need it for could not have been easy. Sometimes we use the judgment from our own comfort to judge others in their discomfort. And I was so grateful for the correction that I got in that moment. And when I gave him that money and I held his hand and I whispered a prayer, He looked in my eyes and said, "Thank you." And all I saw is another person on their journey who happened to be in need at the Waystation. I love you. I love that my trip was easy. I love that I got home safely. And I'm grateful that I met an angel who gave me a lesson that I needed. I love you.